Cool. Okay. We're full screen, right?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, wasn't too painful. I'm proud of my technological skills, and I'm frustrated every time they fail. Okay, tonight I want to talk about preserving my family stories and photos forever. Forever is a long time, obviously. And now the next challenge is, okay, my computer's old and so it doesn't talk well to Zoom sometimes, but it's okay right now. So why would we want to preserve our stories and photos, and what should we preserve? How do we pick, and how do we do it? So we're going to talk about those in a very quick 20 minutes, I hope, if someone's keeping track. And are you recording yet?
Yes, we are recording.
Okay, good. It didn't say anything.
Looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why to preserve them? Well, experts have told us in genealogy that almost all family stories, the content of them, are lost in 3 generations. Oftentimes they're garbled too. So my stories, if I tell them to my children and my grandchildren, then maybe they survive. And if I tell the stories of my parents' family and my grandparents' families, then maybe they survive. And they'll survive if I provide information in a tangible form, like a video or photos with captions, that type of thing. So the challenge for all of us is to learn and tell our family stories to our children and grandchildren. And we all understand that your story makes you, you, and my story makes me, me. We all have interesting lives. We all have private lives. We all have public lives. And we need to tell those stories. So why would we want to preserve them? Well, we all have them, first of all. There's verbal hand-me-down stories or legends that we told to our children and grandchildren, maybe in bedtime stories. There's papers with family stories and obituaries and vital records and other documents. We may have scrapbooks and diaries and letters from our ancestors to someone else or to our ancestors. Oftentimes the photographs and some of the papers might be with someone else. Who did you send your Christmas cards to? What photos did you send with them? Do you still have all those? If you do, that's good. If you don't, someone else might, your cousins, your aunts and uncles, your nieces, nephews, whatever, your siblings. We all have photographs that might be paper or framed. We all have slides and negatives, probably from vacations and whatever. We may have home movies on film, even 8mm film, 16mm film from the 1940s, that type of thing. We all probably have VHS or beta videotapes. We all have digital images probably on our computer and on our phones, and videos too. So we have a lot. I have so much. I'll list it in a minute. So we need to understand what we want to preserve, and obviously you can't preserve all of that just because it's a big job. So we want to select the most interesting items that are of historical importance to us or our family, that are funny or poignant or important, that have motion, that are colorful, that are eye-catching, mysterious, interesting. There are ways now to colorize black and white photos. They say that all the kids now have to have video, have to have moving pictures, and they're bored by reading things or by just looking at photos and maybe looking at a caption on the back and not understanding who people are, and maybe not caring who people are. And those items should show different life stages and different places or events that happen in our life. And you may want to capture groups, families, groups of families or groups of friends or multi-generational groups. And the consequence is you still end up with lots to do, even when you've parsed it the first time down to just those things. But that's okay. Go to work on them. And you had better plan ahead. If you have documents that you haven't digitized, if you have photos that you haven't digitized, what's going to happen to them? Who do you give the document or photo to? Just one of the kids? Obviously, anything you have, everything you have may get trashed in a disaster. And it may get trashed when a home is emptied. We've heard horror stories in genealogy about the three kids came into the house after mom and dad have passed, and they got to get the house ready to sell, and they have to empty it. And they rent a bin and put it in the driveway and just dump everything in the driveway bin. Sorry, I forgot to mute the phone. Okay, so you never can tell. And planning ahead means you do it before you go to the home, or worst case, before you die. But how do we do it? You can keep stuff in their original form as paper or framed photos, as stories or documents on paper, as movies or video, but those need a projector, don't they? You still have yours? I still have mine, but they're crapped out, I lost them. They don't work. The things that make it run break or fail. And then how do you pass them on? Well, one answer is digitize. And so to digitize stuff, you might use a copier or a printer. You might scan or take a photo of them. You might put them on a CD or DVD or another device. You might use an online service to organize and preserve. And that last one is probably one of the best choices. You can do all those things, obviously, but the only way to make sure it lasts, and I hope forever, but probably being reasonable, probably not, is the last one. Use an online service to organize and preserve and let your kids, grandkids know where it is. So maybe they can deal with it. And so by digitizing, you can digitally scan or digital photo of what you have. You can caption your photos and videos with software. You could convert your home movies and slides and videotape to digital. You could use a service for that. There's a couple. Costco has a service for that. There are photo stores. Forever is a service, and we'll talk a lot about that in a minute. Legacy Box runs ads all the time for the digitizing service. They cost, but it's fairly reasonable. And then how do you organize all that? If you have 1,000 photos, how do you separate them? I use family groups usually. And again, in genealogy, we try to deal with a family at a time. So I would put my family stuff with my kids up until they marry, maybe. And I have a family group for my family and for my parents' family and for Linda's parents' family and each grandparent's family, that type of thing. And if you don't know how to do this, then you can learn how to do it if you wish, or have your children and or grandchildren help you. Your kids have grown up in the digital age, and consequently, they're probably fairly competent at it. Your grandchildren have grown up in the video age, and they're wizards at it. So I think one message here is start now, because if you don't, you'll get left behind. Your stories will get left behind. One of the things we have in genealogy is a saying, lots of copies keep stuff safe, locks. And so because your desktop or laptop can fail, your smartphone with all of your photos and videos and things can fail or be stolen, you might have an external hard drive, which costs some money, but not a whole lot, that you can back up files to on a regular basis. You could use an online backup service like Dropbox and Google Drive, where you can either intentionally or automatically save files. They both cost a bit if you exceed the free limit, but Google Drive is 15 gigabytes. That's a big number. You could use a backup service to back up every night, like iDrive or Backblaze or Carbonite. And I use iDrive. And every night at midnight, my computer comes on and it searches my computer for all the files that I've changed or added during the day before, and makes a copy of it on iDrive. And if my computer fails, I can download all those files from iDrive. It might take a couple of days to do it. And you could use a semi-permanent storage system to, and the last line doesn't show there, I'm sorry, to save stuff on something like Forever. Now, why didn't that? There it is. So what I'm doing, I have 60 linear feet of paper in file cabinets and bookcases and folders and binders and stacks full of genealogy stuff going back, 10 generations and more. I have thousands of photos and boxes and albums and loose, and I have about 100 home movies and dozens of videotapes, which I can't find, of family events. So what I've done to date, I've scanned the important papers, the letters and documents. I've saved many digital files off of digital images off of websites for my genealogy. I've scanned many of the photos, and I have still more to do. I keep finding them. I've written many genealogy and family history books and ancestor biographies in my blog online, and saved on websites online and on my computer. But how do I distribute those to everybody? I've converted 23 home movies to digital using Forever. I've organized all those into family files on my desktop and laptop computers. I backed everything up to the external drive, to Google Drive, which is $24 a year because I have too much, and iDrive, which is like $70 a year. But so I have confidence that what I do today will be saved tonight, and that's good. That's all of the good. And as I mentioned, I have a Forever account. So I did the movies. I sent what you do is you open an account on Forever. It doesn't cost anything to open the account. You order a box, which costs money. It's delivered by FedEx. You put your stuff in it, and they give you labels to put on it, and you send it back to them. All this is done by FedEx. It's part of the ordering the box system to send it back, and then in a month they send your stuff back with DVDs and a flash drive if you want, with all your, plus the original movies or photos or whatever. With your account on Forever, you get 3 gigabytes of storage for free. So my 23 movies took about a gigabyte, and I've used about 1.5 gigabytes so far out of the 3. But the deal is, they put it there for 100 years. Is that forever? In 2020 terms, that's a long time. And you can buy more storage if necessary for another fee. There's other Forever services which may just turn everybody on here. They offer more storage. They offer video streaming of what you've uploaded. They offer scanning. They offer design and print of books, coffee table books or photo books or whatever, scrapbooking, digital art. All those come with a cost, obviously, but they're available, and it's in a Forever account. So as I said, I've converted 23 home movies to video. That cost, with the original box, $350 total. The videos were like $15 on the deal that I got when I signed up for it. So 23 times 15 is 330. I uploaded about 200 photos so far into the albums on the Forever account. And they take up space, but it's, 200 photos is a lot, and I have a lot more to do. You can invite your family or friends to share that Forever account. They can add stuff to it as long as they don't exceed the storage limit that you got either free or paid for. And you get a personal account ambassador who tries to help you, who tells you when deals are. Some ambassadors will send an email every week. They'll invite people to the party to scrapbook, or the party to see the newest things that they have for the design, for the printing books and things like that. So it's they're thinking of a lot, and people work full time as these ambassadors. So a picture finally, right? All that's been words so far. So Forever, here's their homepage, and all those things I mentioned are across the top. They also have a club which costs money on a monthly basis, and you get benefits for being in the club. And there are deals, and so there's a whole page full of deals every day. So further down the Forever page, there's a promise. Pay once for Forever storage and own it for your lifetime, plus 100 years, guaranteed. We'll never data mine, advertise, or sell your information ever. We'll migrate your stored content to the latest file formats over time. Your files are triple backed up and secure. We'll protect them for generations. The challenge, of course, is getting the generations to look at them after you go. There's, obviously it's a website. There's just pages and pages of it. I'm not going to bore you with everyone. And so there's examples of what you do. There's a View Jack's profile and probably some of his photos. The conversion services, there's a link there for how it works, and a link for choose a box. There's 3 sizes of boxes. We'll look at that in a second. So you're digitizing once and enjoy for generations is basically the message here. So the 3 boxes are small, medium, and forever. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. So small is, and these are retail prices, so they're usually deals on boxes. So the small is $80, measures 10 by 10 by 6, and the large Forever box measures 19 by 14 by 8 for $500. Okay, you can put a lot more in the large box, obviously, and those come with an allowance that isn't just to get the box back to and from you, but it's also they come with an allowance of how much you want to digitize. For instance, the Forever box the large box I saw was on sale right now for $350 and gave you $350 in credit in digitizing. Okay, what you digitize will always be more than what you put in the box, unless you really count your pennies, and you pay to get the box sent back to you. They tell you how much you owe, and you pay, and they send it. So there's no limit to how much you can convert, and they'll convert photos and slides and negatives and album pages and flatbed scan. They'll do flatbed scanning. They'll do videotapes. They'll do audio transfer. They'll do films. The films are 50 cents a foot for the retail. These are all retail prices. Again, you can probably get deals that are 30% off or some number like that, and up to 50% off. So they'll do all that if you haven't done it. If you have done it, then you can just save your photos and things into the Forever storage and not have to worry about it. So here is what I've done so far. Okay, I've made 4 albums for my my great grandparents' family, my parents, my where is it? Oh, I did my great grandparents and my grandparents all both in one. I've done my parents, and now I've done mine, And then here in the middle is all the movies that I've done, 23 movies. And then here's a look at just a view from my 23 movies. This is my favorite one. This is my first birthday. This man is my great grandfather. He died 3 years after I was born. All this old German, not born in Germany, but his grandfather came from Germany. And always very dour, always very reserved. And this movie showed him laughing at me and with me. Really, really special. I'd never seen that before. And I hadn't really seen color pictures of him either. A lot of these are of kids, either our kids or the grandkids. And some are of me and my brothers as we grew up back in the 40s and 50s. My grandfather was really a technology guy. He was a first adopter of almost everything, movies and cameras, and he always had the latest stuff. Here is the family photo for my family with Linda and our daughters, Lori and Tammy. Lori's 46, Tammy will be 44 this year. And so I've been putting stuff in over time. So that's pretty much what I've done with Forever. I have another box. I'm ready to go. I'm going to add more home movies to it. I'm going to look again for the videotapes. And I've already ordered another medium-sized box. There's like a Christmas present to me. The first one was a Christmas present to me. So I give myself gifts now, since no one knows what to get me. So I'm going to add the more home movies, add more photos to the Forever albums, add my books and biographies. You can put documents and, like Word documents or PDF documents in. I have most of my genealogy books and biographies in PDF form. I'm going to take the digitized home movies and use Zoom or something like Zoom and add voiceovers to it so that it isn't just video, but it's also audio on top of the video. You can do that. I'm going to try to make photo books for gifts using design and print service. And I will eventually have to buy more Forever storage for 100 years. So that's my plan. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. I don't know a lot about Forever as far as how it works or what runs, whatever. All I know is that it worked well for me, and I'm really happy with what they provided. So if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer. If you don't, thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful meeting after this. I want to go back and watch the World Series game, and then at 8 o'clock is Finding Your Roots on PBS, which is the Henry Louis Gates genealogy show. I forget what the guy's name is, but Tia Leone is one of the characters that they're reviewing this time.
I see. Thank you, Randy. I see Lena has a question real quick.
Hi, Lena.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. It was fantastic.
Great.
I'm kind of the family historian in my family as well. So one of my biggest frustrations, I would say, was coming up with a file naming system. And the closest thing I can come up with is a date written backwards. So starting with the year, then the month and the day. So when and then like a keyword. So just so that I can say, okay, well, I can look for files that were in 1980. I can find files that were in 1970. But I was wondering if you had come up with any kind of file naming system to help you organize what the files actually are.
I try. I fail sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
In genealogy, we have a number of things that are important. And so I use, first of all, have family files. So each family has a file. So there's Randy and Linda Seaver, actually Randy Seaver and Linda Leland, okay? And so everything I have goes into that file, okay? And I have file folders for documents and reports and photographs, okay? And so, and then the naming system I use I do first name, last name, dash, the year, dash, what the document is. If it's, if it's a census record, it'll say census. And then where it is, dash where it is, and then dash other things that explain it a bit. Now that's genealogy because I have thousands of documents. I have 150,000 files on my computer, Photographs a little simpler, but I still use, and then there's group photos. So I'll say Seaver Group dash 1955 dash San Diego, that type of thing. And maybe who else might be in it. So, I'm happy with what I've done so far. I've been using it for like 12, 14 years. And it would be impossible to change it at this point in time. So, think long term, think what you want to do with it and how you want to sort it out. The reason I use the first names, if I give the names consistently, if it's always Randy Seaver dash 1943 and the next one dash 1948, that type of thing, then all of mine will be in order. And if I do Linda Seaver with the years, all of hers will be in order. And if you have 8 kids, then shoot, your file folder gets full. I hope that answers the question, Lena. I'm sorry.
Well, yes, it does. It does. And it kind of segued really easily into my next question, which was, do you have any like tags or keyword systems that you're using? And it sounds like you have those tags and keywords already built into your file naming system.
Yeah.
And for me, honestly, if I'm thinking of a photograph, it's much easier for me to remember where something was taking place, or rather than like the date. So sometimes when I'm organizing my images, it's easy for me to add a tag or a file folder that actually says where something is, because that's easier for me to remember.
We all have a different way.
It looks like Karen.
And many of you have probably done this for a long time, and so you have a system already, and think about how you want to embellish it, but maybe not change it.
Karen Buckingham, did you have a question?
Yes, Randy, on the box. So you send the box to them, and they digitize it and they send it back to you. So it's not organized in any. How is it organized? I mean, is it all on? What do you get back? A CD, a thumb drive?
Okay, a couple of questions there. When they send the box to you, they send some labels, and they send some dots. Okay, and you number the dots, and you put them on the media that you want. So for the home movies that I did, I put dots 1 through 23 on each roll of film. And they were all 50 feet film, 50 foot of film.
Oh.
So, okay. So, and you write down then, and they give you a piece of paper to write down what number 1 is, what number 2 is, how you want them labeled. Okay. And you can't write a book about it, but you can, do some description of it, and that helps you. Okay. And then you group them together and you put them in plastic bags before you put them in the box, so they don't move around. They don't get lost. Okay. And you have your key, the log that you've written the descriptions on with the numbers, and you put that in the box, and you send the box back to them. And then they digitize things. You have a choice as to how you want them. You just want them on forever, or they'll give you flash drives, or they'll make DVDs for you. Okay, you order those depending on what you order. It costs money. I think the DVDs were like $10 each or some number like that. I got 2. I got a flash drive with everything, and it's all on forever. Now on forever with a free account, you can't watch them there, but you can download them to your computer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that works, and it works very, very well. The place they do it is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. If the dead of winter, and they came back in a month. Now, I don't know in COVID time how it's going to work out, but my guess is they're still doing it, because a lot of us are taking this time to try to do what we're talking about. You had a second question, Karen. What was it? I'm sorry. I can't remember stuff now.
It was, you pretty much answered it. I wondered how the media, how it came back in the box, which you answered. Like
Okay.
they don't store it on your account, you know, like up in the air, wherever, on forever. They send you either a CD drive or, I mean, a CD or a DVD
They'll send
or
you what you order. Yeah.
or your
And
thumb
they'll
drive.
put it on, and they'll put it on your account on forever.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I'm going to interrupt now. I think there probably could be more questions. And Randy, we need to get our meeting started, but
I understand.
thank you so very much for coming. You certainly opened my eyes to a few things. I had no clue that there were these things available. And so we really appreciate you spending your time with us. And now
I can recommend a local lady who would love to have business and things like that. I'm not trying to sell anything, but my experience was wonderful. And it gave me a head start, and I'm trying to work on it more. I forget and do things, and you know, but life goes on. So,
well, thank you so very much.
okay, well, thank you all. I'll go.
Randy.
I'm still invisible.
Yes, you are still invisible, Pat.
Who's your lady, Randy?
Hi, Pat.
Hi, Randy.
So
This is
I
Karen Bucking.
I know 5 or 6 of you. I know.
Yeah.
Just looking at names, and so
Yeah.
it's been an enjoyable time. You had 28 or 29 folks. That's great.
Yes,
Okay, have fun.
thank you so much.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
For anyone that's video is still turned off and you want to turn it on, you either tap your screen, or if you're on a computer, the bottom left should have start video. And like I'll demonstrate, I'm going to stop my video and then I'm going to start my video again. And I probably moved on you as well.
Yes, you did.
Pat, do you
Keeping
see
us on our toes.
a start video on your?
I do, but it's crossed out.
Yeah, so when you click the crossed out start video,
Nothing happens.
oh, it just won't start.
No.
Well, that's annoying.
Well, let me.
Okay, after this is over, we'll chat and we'll figure it out.
She might not have a camera.
Yeah, I have a camera.
Oh, Patricia. Hello, it's so good to see you.
I'm not there to be seen right now.
We're talking about also Patricia Sandoval's here.
Oh, okay.
The bank finally let her have a minute off, right?
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
really?
I
Working a lot, but when we're done with the meeting, I'm going to go back to work, but I'm a little late, but I made it.
Oh, my goodness.
glad you-
Well, we are certainly happy to see you. Kathleen has kind of kept us up to date on the long hours you've been working and all. So I'm glad you have a few minutes off.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be joining.
Well, I think we're probably all about here. So how about that? I'm calling the meeting to order. And if there's no objection, Perk Snow will serve as recording secretary.
Yeah.
The guard will conduct a visual verification of members. And are there any members attending by phone? No.
think we have
Okay,
one.
Matilda?
Oh, yes, Madam President. All present are entitled to remain.
Thank you. And the guard will watch.
Madam President, I think I'm the corresponding secretary for Jan.
Oh, okay. And you will serve as corresponding secretary. Thank you, darling.
Yes, ma'am.
And while, if you're going to speak, it helps the secretary a whole bunch. If you'll just give your name beforehand, it's just hard kind of to figure out real fast who's speaking. So the guard will watch for others who might join the virtual meeting and confirm the membership of all who join. This evening, we're going to do things just a little bit differently. And Beth will recite the opening ode for us.
The objects and names.
Beth, you were going to do the opening ode. Did we have a communication gap?
Am I singing or am I doing the objects and names? I can't remember.
You were just going to recite the
Opening note. Okay.
the
I thought I was.
opening ode. Did
Sorry
I say
about that.
object names? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I don't know. I could have been.